look stupid. Hey, kids, welcome back to Worth the Spin. All right, this is continuing our little series here with my co-host and guest, Kelly.
Hi.
And she's enlightening me, or us, on some of the things on Beatles albums that she's listened to. She's not hasn't been a long-time listener. First-time caller, matter of fact. So she's just learning some things, and I'm learning some things, and she knows more about music stuff than I do. So we're just kind of running through here and see how she feels about them, and where she finds notes that are interesting or made up, or any of the other things that the Beatles did that invented music. And you say what you want, they invented music. So there was no music, and then the Beatles came along, and then there was music.
Is that how you see it?
That's how I see it.
Okay.
That's how it happened for me, and that's how it happened in the world, period. All right, so we're up to A Hard Day's Night.
Okay.
Hard Day's Night is their first theatrical movie. It's their first soundtrack. It was a big hit, surprise, surprise. It involved a lot of, you probably haven't seen it, a lot of the Beatles running around town. So, it's just they run around London, and Paul's grandfather is with them. They're trying to get him to a certain place, and they run around and they sing, and there's not really a lot goes on. It's just a lot of singing and a lot of running.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
It's a movie, so it's not a music video, because that wasn't around yet.
But they did invent the music video. Yeah, it's an actual movie. It has a storyline.
Okay.
It's a thin storyline, but it has a storyline.
Okay.
The Beatles were popular. Elvis was doing movies every time he turned around, so they're like, why can't the Beatles do one and make a ton of money for us too? Basically, is the way that works.
Okay.
Okay, so Hard Day's Night. What do you have on Hard Day's Night? Oh, Hard Day's Night. I tried to show the covers. I'm not very good.
So, as I said in our last episode, I was just taking notes on, are we in a major key or minor key? I thought it was interesting if an entire album might be in a major key, for example, or in this album, every song is in 4/4 time. So every song has 4 beats in a measure. And again, that's the most common time signature. So I'm not saying anything good or bad or crazy about it, but they just weren't experimenting as much with meter on this album. So the only songs I've heard on this album were If I Fell, because of my mom probably, because that was a pretty, slow, pretty song, and Can't Buy Me Love. Those are the only 2 I think I've ever heard before.
Okay.
So, for And I Love Her, I got a little into the verses are in a minor key. The verses are in C sharp minor, choruses are in E major, so that's their relative. So every key signature has a relative.
Okay.
We don't want to get too deep into music theory here. But they just had a little bit more maybe going on with that song. And I like how the rhythm, the accents are on 2 and the and of 3. So if you have 1, 2, 3, 4, the accents are 1, 2, bum, bum, bum. So it's just something I noticed, something I liked. Interesting to me that Can't Buy Me Love had no vocal harmonies. They have harmonies on everything. I didn't hear any harmonies on that. Correct me if I'm wrong, listeners.
Didn't notice that.
I could be wrong, but I wrote no vocal harmonies on that. I said that on I'll Cry Instead, too. Somebody check my work. But I didn't have too much to say on this album. I'll Be Back. They're shifting between A major and A minor. So it starts with an A major chord, but the verses are in A minor. So it just creates kind of like a unsettling kind of feeling a little bit. So it's just interesting how the key signatures you choose and the chords you choose are trying to evoke a certain feeling. So if you're writing a happy song, you're going to choose certain chords. If you're writing a sad song, certain chords. And so that was just something I noticed is that it shifts right there, kind of gives it a different feel. But mostly love songs, right?
Yeah.
You Can't Do That. I put upbeat song about putting someone in their place. That's what it sounded like to me from the lyrics. You've probably taken a much deeper dive and know what the songs are about a little bit more. Is Things We Said Today about a long distance relationship?
In a way, yeah. most of their relationships with their wives at the time were long distance because they were gone for so long. So they had a little bit toward it was Paul a little bit towards his wife at the time.
Mm-hmm. So okay,
yeah,
interesting. Yeah, I didn't think about
the Beatles were all at the time love songs because that's what sold was love songs, and there wasn't any.
Sure.
No band back in the early '60s really branched out into anything else.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was love songs. That's what sold. It was simple. It's what the kids bought. That's what they wanted to get.
Sure.
So,
yeah.
There's no covers. We're done.
No more covers at all.
We're done.
Okay.
We're done with covers.
Okay.
Yeah, so you know.
Okay.
So nothing else super exciting that comes out at you. I know some of these, like I said, they're just they're love songs, and there's not a lot of fancy play, wordplay, and stuff like that going on quite yet.
Yeah.
And I knew that going in, but I kind of don't want to get someone's opinion on half a catalog. You want to.
Right.
And what I think, and this is what I tell people, when you first start listening to the Beatles, that's why I wanted you to do it this way. You start with the very first album and go all the way through, because as you do, you see the progression, and you see how they build from just these simple little just love songs to a day in the life. And
it's fascinating, and it wouldn't be the same if I had started halfway through the catalog.
Right.
And so it's like that for any musician, any band, classical composers, earlier works versus later works, or classical composers from earlier time periods in music versus later time periods in music. It's fascinating to see somebody's journey.
Yeah. Okay. And I think this is an amazing journey. It really is. So, all right. So nothing else super exciting there?
No.
All right. Well, let's move on to Help, the Beatles' second theatrical movie.
Really?
Yeah. They were trying to beat Elvis. Couldn't work.
Wow.
You need to do like 80 movies to beat Elvis.
Right.
But anyway, so this was kind of a con movie for the Beatles. So they wanted the Beatles to do another movie because that was such a hit.
Okay.
So they said, yeah, we'll do it. But, what if we do it like? Because the Beatles lived in Liverpool. And I know Liverpool was like a river port. It was like a little river town during the war. Servicemen would come and switch boats and have shore leave there for a day or two and then go back out. And it was then just small, and the families lived there, and it wasn't much to it. It was, bombed during the war and stuff like that. So they were like, we've never seen the Bahamas. Why don't you put in the script that we go to the Bahamas for this movie? And why don't you put in, we do the Alps, because we never skied before, so why don't you do that? And the writer's like, okay. And he's putting all this stuff in there, and they're like, well, that's just places we ain't been, we wanted to go.
You're right.
And they put it in. So
they're no dummies.
so this movie involved, this had a little bit more of a storyline, yeah. So Ringo wears lots of rings. He gets his ring. It's a ceremonial ring for this group of it's an Indian group of that pray to this goddess, the 8 arms, and they were going to originally call this 8 arms to hold you by, and they changed it to help. But so they're chasing Ringo, and they don't really know that these guys are chasing Ringo. And they're trying to get him so they can cut his finger off and get this ring that he's got on.
Sounds
because they need it for one of their ceremonies.
Goofy.
It's very goofy. It's a lot of the Beatles just kind of running around and singing. And it's pretty much it. There's no real, Elvis had a little more scripts to his. He was trying to be an actor and stuff. And the Beatles just wanted to have fun. And with this movie, they were picking out, John's like, we just picked out places we've never been before. Like, hey, we'd like to see that. Put that in the script. Put that in the... And then, okay. And they write it in the script. And we got to go to the Bahamas, which we've never been to before. And being as busy as they are, it's not like they say, we're going to take a week off and go check these places out. So they conned their way into... with this movie. So that's what's neat about it. That's the biggest thing about Help, is they were just kind of, and this is where we started with a little bit of the, what did you call it? I mean, look. Oh, drugs.
Stop.
A little bit of...
I didn't say anything about drugs in this album. So actually...
this is where they started a little bit of the overuse of marijuana, which they were introduced to. So they would hide out, and people would say they thought nobody knew that they were getting high, and they were. And some of their lines are flubbed if you watch the movie. Okay. And they're doing things like, we were too tired to ride the bikes for too long, so we kind of told the writers do this and this. Yeah. Because we were high, and we didn't want to ride these bikes all around the place. So yeah, there's a lot of history to stuff like that. So it's kind of where they got, they were introduced to marijuana, and they kind of, the first time you're introduced to something, you think it's really cool, you over kind of do it. And that's kind of what they did. Yeah. But I don't think there's impact on any of the songs on
I didn't feel that way.
Help was a cry out for John. That was his song because he was getting a little overweight. And he was
seriously?
a little, he feels he was getting a little overweight. Okay. That's his fat Elvis period, he calls it. And and he was a little mentally stressed and stuff. And so this was a mental cry. This song was a way of saying, hey, I need help. My life's kind of out of control. Okay. And that was the point of that song. Okay. No special meaning to the rest of it. It's just good music, I think.
Well, so I recognized more of these. Mm-hmm. So prior to my listen, I had already heard Help, You've Got to Hide Your Love Away, Ticket to Ride, Act Naturally, and Yesterday.
Oh, that's good.
Right?
Yeah.
So I felt in this album there was more vocal independence. Mm-hmm. Not just 3-part harmony that's stacked and singing all of the same words at the same time with different pitches, harmonizing. I felt, for Help, there's like 2 different vocal lines kind of dancing around each other is how I described it. Okay. Just more on the backup vocals being a little bit more independent, I guess. So You've Got to Hide Your Love Away. So that's in 6/8 time. So again, you've got the accents, the strong beats are on 1 and 4. Mm-hmm. And the tambourine is hitting on beat 4, which is solidifying that time signature. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 with that tambourine.
Oh, okay. All right.
So for I Need You, I said, what is that instrument? I said, is that guitar with reverb or an electric piano? And I said, I don't really love it.
So this is where George introduced the sitar.
Is that the sitar? Yeah, I know it's on many other songs.
Yeah, there were some Indian musicians there, and they were playing the sitar, and he was fascinated by it. And he asked him to teach him a few lines on it, which, from what I hear, is an incredibly hard instrument to learn to play. Everything's wrong on it compared to usual musical instruments.
I wouldn't know.
I wouldn't know either. But it became a huge favorite of his, and it stayed with a lot of his music going forward, especially in his solo years.
So what I think is interesting as far as a band goes is how did the other guys feel about this literally a foreign instrument being in their rock and roll band?
The Beatles were fine with it. They were open to anything. The Beatles were a band where if one member said, hey, I want to try this, and the other 3 are like, nah, I don't think so, then they didn't do it. Or even if 3 of them said, I think we should try this is a good idea, and one would go, no, I don't think so, then they didn't do it. Okay. That was the way that they operated. Okay. So they were open to different musical things, and were getting into the period to where they were ready to experiment with different kinds of. They were getting the freedom to do more than just
be more open-minded too, and not being in a box.
The little love songs.
Yep.
Yeah. So
absolutely.
they opened up more, and that's a big part of some of the songs on this album, I think. Yesterday, I'll tell you this. So Yesterday is a solo song, Paul McCartney only. Okay. Paul, nobody else. When they did this song, there was a thought by some people that Paul should do it by himself and release it. Paul McCartney. Yesterday, Paul McCartney, not the Beatles. Paul said, no, I won't do that. We're a band. Mm-hmm. It's the Beatles. We don't do that. Okay. But they didn't want. The song took over, became and I will say this as a Beatles fan, and I've said it before to some people, and they're like, what? But everybody looks at Yesterday as the pinnacle of the Beatles' early music. That's like the song. Everybody loves Yesterday. Yesterday has more covers to it than any other song.
So why do you think that is? Why does everybody love that song so much?
I'll tell you, I don't know, because it's not a favorite of mine. I like it. But when people go, oh, it's Yesterday, I'm like, yeah. It's not. Yesterday is not that song for me. Like, Hey Jude's my favorite Beatles song. I'll stop everything and listen to Hey Jude. Yesterday, I like it. It's a good song. But is it the world? I don't think so. Well, so they wouldn't release it as a single in the UK, and they wanted them to. And Paul said no. It's just, So in America, we released it over here. Capitol did. And they released it as a single, and it was a huge, huge hit, #1 right away. and it's a big thing. And they came back again and said, look at the hit that it is. We should release it. And they're like, no, it's just me. They were a band, and that's the way they operated all the way up until they split up. It's a band majority, and that's it.
Which is great, right? We know so many bands just can't keep it together because of the differing of opinions. But what I wanted to say about Yesterday, to me, I put it's the first song, maybe not just this album, but maybe everything I'd listened to so far. It was the first song that sounded more introspective and deeper to me. I know it's still just a love song, I think.
Yeah.
But it just seemed like it just went to a deeper level. And all the string instruments, an acoustic guitar, it just, I could see how it sticks out to people and that people would like it a lot. And just the arrangement and the instrumentation just sounds very different than their other songs.
It is. It's more orchestra. I can't say that word very right. Orchestra song.
Orchestral?
There you go. Yeah, there's a lot of, English is tough for me. I was born here and went to an American school, but I fight with English. So,
it's all good.
But yeah, and you've got the Hide Your Love Away. You talked about that fourth beat or whatever. So that was John's attempt to write a song like Bob Dylan.
Which was where?
You've Got to Hide Your Love Away.
Oh.
Yeah, they were big on Bob Dylan, and he wanted to write something that was Bob Dylan-ish, and that's what that song is about. And that's why it has that, because if you listen to Bob Dylan's music, which I'm not a fan of, I should be, but I'm not, his music is like that. So that's why that sounds like that. I don't know if you listen to a lot of Bob Dylan, but if you listen to Bob Dylan and then listen to that, you go, hey.
So my dad's a Bob Dylan guy.
Is he? Is he? Wow, I liked him so much.
Sorry, Roy, you're out. So, hey, a couple of other things I thought were interesting. So, Act Naturally, I know it's a cover song. I mean, what makes them want to cover a song like that?
It was Ringo. So Ringo was not a big writer.
He was the country guy?
Yeah, he liked country a lot. He did not write a lot of songs. He just wasn't a songwriter. He was a drummer.
Okay.
And that's what he did, was just drum.
Okay.
And that's what he enjoyed.
Okay.
So and they wanted him, they're like, you should have a voice in this. And, especially George Martin, you should do a song. So when he had a choice to pick a song, he picked something that was more country because that's what he enjoyed.
It just seemed so strange to me when I'm listening to it. It just doesn't seem Beatles to me at all.
It's another Carl Perkins song.
Okay.
You're like,
but you can cover a song and make it sound like your band.
Right.
But this does not sound like that.
Because that's the way he liked it.
Yeah,
so
he just wanted it to be that way.
Yeah.
One last note on Ticket to Ride. So the drumming's interesting. So he's playing like triplet quarter notes at the end of each measure. And so it just gives it kind of a halted feeling. I wish we could listen to it.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think of how to describe it. Bum, bum, ba, then to the next measure. Bum, bum, ba. Sorry. That's kind of all I can say about it. But that was just something that kind of stood out to me that I liked. And then Pat and I were debating, is it triplet quarter notes? Is it this? Is it that? And so, I don't know. Those discussions are always kind of fun. So, a little something there that I liked. And that might be it on this album.
Okay. Ringo never thought he was that great of a drummer at first. He says, I can play 2 notes, and that's it. I just got to keep a beat for those guys, and that's all I got to do.
Well,
but
I'm not a Beatles expert, but people say he's not a good drummer.
No, Ringo would say that kind of thing. Everybody that I've heard has always said people I've heard say Ringo's a great drummer.
So I saw something online that said somebody asked one of the other guys, is Ringo the best drummer in the world? And whoever answered said, Ringo's not the best drummer in this band. Have you ever heard that?
I have not heard that. I don't know who that was.
Fact check me, guys.
Wow, yeah, I'll look that up.
But
I've not heard that.
That's a low blow.
Somebody in the Beatles said that?
Apparently.
It might have been during that period of 69 through like 73 when there was this period and they were just like done with one another and they were fighting all the time, and John would pick things in Paul's songs and say, all he does is silly love songs, and so he wrote a song called "Silly Love Songs" that was a huge number one. And then Paul would go back and make fun of John's music and stuff, and that was a thing that went on for a while.
Yeah.
They were just they were a very close knit group that loved one another, but
when you spend that much time together,
right?
For
And
any
with
band.
all the pressures of the popularity and
Yeah.
people trying to break into your home and your hotel, and they used to say the only place we ever got 5 minutes for ourselves is if we went in the bathroom and locked the door. Wow, that was it.
That's stressful.
So that's a lot.
So they're lashing out at each other a little bit. Okay.
Right. So if someone said that, they said that probably in that time period, and it was more of a, because they kind of feel in that way, hating one another.
Yeah.
And
well, again, I read it on the
you
internet.
gotta learn.
I mean, I don't know if it's
Okay.
true.
That's
There's a lot
fine.
out there on the internet.
Yeah, there is. It's the first I've heard about that, but whatever. So Pat's listened to these two?
Not like I have,
Okay.
but when we were discussing, so apparently when I was listening to this, he was around the house, right? And so every once in a while I'd say, hey, listen to this. What do you think? Do you think this is, triplet quarter notes? What do you think this is? But, I thought it'd be cool if he and I listened together and he could give his drummer perspective, but he said, no thanks.
Yeah. Shy fella. All right. So nothing else that really sticks out about that.
No.
All right. Well, we're doing better than I thought we'd do. So
Okay.
I'm going to do that little magic I do where I pretend like I'm editing it. Hang on. So let's move to the next album because really I thought we were
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
So now let's get into where things really kind of get changed for the Beatles. And that is Rubber Soul. Okay. Everybody knows what the covers look like. I just show them anyway.
I love it.
Okay, so
it's great.
All right, Rubber Soul. So this was groundbreaking for Beatles music. This was a great change in the Beatles and how they did things.
Why?
Because of the songs, the content of the songs, how the songs were arranged and put together. Not just simple "I love you" songs. No more.
Yeah.
It's drastically different. Marijuana took a little bit more of a hold on them, so there was a little bit of an influence outside just their regular minds too with some of this. And they got to where they were like, you can try something different now. Tell us what you need, and we'll get it. So different instruments were involved in the studio that normally was involved in there.
Okay.
So they had a chance to do a little bit more and experiment.
Okay.
So.
All right. So songs I had heard prior, Drive My Car, Norwegian Wood, in my life. But in my life, I've probably heard the Beatles do it, but actually this song's been covered by so many people, but including a Canadian musician, Chantal Kreviazuk, if I'm pronouncing it correctly.
I assume so.
So she's a musician. I absolutely love her cover of Leaving on a Jet Plane. And years ago, our band tried to emulate her specific version of that song. But so she covered In My Life as well. So that's my little personal connection with that song. And I wondered if, In My Life is one of the first truly introspective songs for them. But I think I said that in a previous album about one song. But this song to me, they're just thinking a little bit on a deeper level with their music. The Word had a really funky beat with the drums and piano. What Goes On, in my opinion, has a country flair. For Girl, I said, what is that sound during the chorus? I said, is that breathing?
Yes.
What is that? Is that what that is?
Yeah.
Okay.
It is.
And, a lot of moderate tempo songs, in my opinion, on this album. What Goes On is quick. I'm Looking Through You is quick. Wait and Run for Your Life are quick. But but more than half, in my opinion, were just moderately fast.
Okay. So nothing super exciting that you...
I feel bad for saying no. So I hear sitar on Norwegian Wood, right? I heard sparse drums with a moving bass line on You Won't See Me, so just really open drumming. But I think those were my only notes. I mean, everything's in 4/4 time except Norwegian Wood is 6/8 time. couple songs in a minor key on this album, most in a major key. I continue to hear more separate harmony vocals, not just stacked above the melody. Lots of la la la's, lots of kind of extra vocal things going on, and less love songs.
Okay. That's cool.
That's all I got.
All right. Well, so I'm Looking Through You was kind of a song that Paul wrote about his then wife, who he was filled that was being a little unfaithful to him.
She was being unfaithful?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. In My Life is a retrospective by John. He's starting to kind of get a little to that age of looking back on things. And
how old was he?
I don't remember. I should, but I don't. I think
Okay.
he was 26, 25 at the time.
That's young.
Well,
to be...
it's for a life that they've lived, though, you know.
Yeah, but it's still impressive, though,
Yeah.
to me.
It's the Beatles had a lot of really deep music, and especially for their age, too. Even if you look at stuff that they wrote when they were, after they split up, you know, they weren't that old. And some of the stuff that they wrote was really deep kind of music, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, Norwegian Wood. There was supposedly a song John wrote about an affair and burned this girl's apartment down.
Really?
That's what he used to say. So some of the things behind the songs, I think, if you listen to them and then then you hear it, it's like, what, really?
Well, so I listened. You know, now that you say that, I did not scrutinize the lyrics. I mean, I could kind of tell this is a love song or this might be. But I didn't really. I mean, I'd have to look it up on the internet, I think, to really learn why did.
Well, yeah.
You know, to really know if it was about someone specific or something specific or you know, a situation in one of their lives. I just kind of like, oh, love song. Oh, this not a love song. Just like the next album. I'm like, oh, this is a political song. You know, you just get into, you're like, oh, okay, we're really branching out on song topics.
Right.
So,
okay.
But that's kind of what I had for Rubber Soul.
All right. Well, I thought it was, this is, to me, it changed a lot when I listened to this. But when I listened to them when I was a kid, I didn't really know about the order, and we didn't have the British things. We had the American ones. And the American ones, it seems like the love songs, you know, go on forever because they took songs off albums and made new albums.
Yeah.
And so those songs carried on forever. It's like 4 or 5, 6, 7 albums. You got the same stuff. Where in Europe, we've already way past all that, and we're doing more serious stuff. So it puts a different spin on. That's why one of the reasons I listen to the UK albums is because if you listen to the American ones, it does. It seems like they're doing, you know, the hops. What'd you call it? Sock hop stuff or whatever. Forever.
Yeah.
But they don't. It's just the way that we marketed it back then. So yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, there's nothing super like really deep on here other than In My Life, I think. But I just think the album itself is just like the first version of it that came out. It was a lot heavier, it was a louder album. And when they played it, people were complaining like needles were jumping because they made everything more louder. They wanted like in your face and kind of, you know. So they had to tone the album down and make it not so it's a little bit lighter. It's kind of Beatles light, I guess. So
Beatles light.
Yeah, Beatles light. So what we got for time, we're doing pretty good. So all right, so yeah, nothing really there. I thought you'd have a little more on the music aspect of that, but
you know, I didn't hear. There's no mixed meter on this. There's, you know, again, we have moderate tempos and quick tempos, and you know, I put one slow, one is kind of moderate to slow in my opinion. And so, you know, I believe, let's see, they're almost all in a major key except for Michelle, I believe, I'm looking at my notes correctly. And so it'd be interesting, you know, if I listened to it, if I gave it a second listen, right? And if I would have anything to add, which I can certainly do. But I didn't listen to this and think, oh, that's crazy. Oh, that's so shockingly different.
Right.
Now you get to the next album, and I have kind of
Lots
more
of
notes, more notes written down. But
well, I kind of did actually listen to the music part of it, not really scrutinize the lyrics much. So yeah, that's good. But maybe now when you listen to some of it, sometimes when you hear it, you learn something about it, like wow, and then you really listen to it.
Yeah,
you know.
Absolutely.
So yeah, that's good. Okay, cool. So we only got one more that you got done, and that's Revolver. And then we'll have to catch up, and it really gets interesting after Revolver. I think.
Okay, I'm
Some
excited.
great stuff
Yeah.
there. So,
Okay.
all right, so about at the end of my time limit.
Okay, so we're gonna save Revolver for next time.
So I say Revolver. I'm just dying so much to. Okay, so on this list, she just asked, some of these songs are drug influenced songs, and I can see why you would say that about some of these songs.
Yeah.
And I don't want to wait till next time to tell you this because it's just exciting. What do you think Got to Get You Into My Life's about?
I don't know. It sounds like a trick question.
Would you think it's a girl that he met?
Of course.
I got it.
Of course.
I'm so crazy about you.
It's about getting drugs.
It's about marijuana.
Okay.
Paul wrote that about marijuana.
That's funny.
Yeah.
What I thought about this song, my take on that, just so you know, was it sounds like the band Chicago to me. And not just because they have horns, but a little bit of the melodic line. You'll have to listen and tell me if you agree or you don't agree. But that's what it made me think of. But yeah, there's so much to discuss on this next album.
Yeah.
I have, about drugs, and then drugs for sure, and I've got corny. I got a lot going on here.
You do? What'd you put corny on? I didn't see that.
Okay, I said I know it's so famous, but it sounds corny.
Which one?
Yellow Submarine.
Oh, Yellow Submarine.
I'm just saying. I'm not saying I don't like it, but I'm just saying.
Even Ringo was a little like this.
Sounds
is kind of
corny.
Yeah, even Ringo was like this, and for it to be on an album like Revolver, with all this other stuff,
Yeah.
But now he tells a story. My grandkids come over and go, "Grandpa, sing Yellow Submarine." And it's a great thing, because he's 84, 86 years old now.
I'm not trashing it. I'm just it's just an observation.
Yeah. When you look at that album and the content of the songs on an album, and we all want to live in a yellow submarine. What? But yeah, it's a nice little break. It works out. It's cool. I like it. So.
Yeah. So there'll be a lot to talk about on this album.
Yeah, and then going forward, then we've still got like the White Album, Abbey Road, Sgt. Pepper. Yeah. And I'm gonna be real interested in hearing what you got to think about Sgt. Pepper, being as you have drug reference for Revolver. So when we get to Sgt. Pepper, I'm gonna be really, really interested in hearing what I think. There's some things that you're gonna say, and I'm gonna go. Well, I don't want to tell you what I want to say.
Yeah.
But I can already kind of see some things that you say, and not knowing a lot of the history about the songs and stuff.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's kind of this is fun for me. I think this is.
It's fun.
Yeah, it's cool. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I know you were a little apprehensive about it, and Well,
I just wanted to understand the assignment and know that I have a degree in music, but that doesn't mean I'm a music expert on all the things. It's just my observations.
You can play more than C, which is all I'm up to. So I've been practicing on that piano. That's what I'm good at. But
you can play more than that.
I know, but it's tough. I do still work out of the little beginner's book of piano, by the way.
When I can. You're a beginner. So. It's all right.
Okay. All right. So thanks again for joining me and doing this.
Thanks for having me.
I think this is
super fun.
I like it. I can't wait to move on.
Yeah.
We might have to drag it out for some of the other albums because there's a lot of stuff going on there. And I think
we might get through less albums next time.
I think so. When we get to that.
Lots to talk about.
but you can. I'll throw it in there. I didn't say it because I was basically going for the music end of it.
Yeah.
Listen a little more deep to the lyrics and stuff on these next albums going forward, and see what you think about that because I'll be interested in hearing what you think about the lyrical content.
Okay,
so
I will.
Cool. All right, that's what I got for you for this video. Thanks again, Kelly.
You're welcome.
Fantastic. I'm watching the Hawks out there trying to. Yeah. So if you like this video, fancy graphics again. Look, they're 3D. I found that somewhere and I've used it ever since.
It's amazing.
So give me a thumbs up if you like this video. I appreciate it. Subscribe. I love getting new subscribers. And comment. I love comments. Replying to comments. I do it quite a bit. And that's all I got for you this time. So as usual, sprinkle a little love out there on everybody and everything because the world needs love. That's what the Beatles said. All you need is love.
That's right.
So, and they used to say all their songs were all love songs, but then when you listen to something like Run For Your Life, it's not really a love song. But anyway, it's all good. And if you don't mind, do one good deed for somebody today, whatever it is. Buy somebody a coffee or give the guy in the corner a buck or two. You don't know what they're going through or why they're there. Everybody has a story. Hold the car door open for someone or Something like that. Anything. Do one kind deed. You never know. If you do one kind deed for one person, they'll do it for somebody else. That's 2 of them doing it. Next thing you know, if we keep doing it, 4 people, 6 people, and we got a whole world of people doing good deeds for one another. That's how I feel. That's what I'm all about. All right, so thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it. Tune in for part 3 of this, and I think it's really going to get interesting after this. So I can't wait. So thanks a lot. Thank you again, Kelly, for coming over here to my lavish studio.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. All right, I'll see y'all next time.
Bye.